Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at gcnlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Watch the greenbacks tumble.
Everyone all set, cocked, locked. Here we go. Your dial set correctly to USAPrepares.com. We're delighted you're here, and we're broadcasting 2 hours from high atop the Missouri Ozark Mountains. Tom is engineering the broadcast in Minnesota, and if you'd like to call us, we'll pay for the call. 866-582-9933. 866-582-9933. And I've been getting some reports that our listen line is not working. Let me give you a couple numbers for the listen line and let us know if it's still not working. So 605-562-7727. 605-562-7727. And there's an alternate number if you'd like to try that. Same number except it ends in 4080. 605-562-4080. I'm delighted to be back here in the studio here in Missouri. I had just returned from 4 days being away. Had an opportunity to speak at a preparedness conference, the RK Preppers Shows conference in Fletcher, North Carolina. It was a great event. Really enjoyed being there. And we're going to do it again this weekend. And we're going to have another show this weekend. And that is in Springfield, Missouri at the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds. So I'll be speaking again this weekend, that's Saturday and Sunday, at the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds. I'll be talking about, big lies, and how you need to identify them and how you need to respond to them, and what you need to do to avoid being taken advantage of by them. And we'll be talking about how to start your own business and take the same tax deductions that the rich take. Captain John Regan's with us, and I want to thank Captain John Regan for holding down the fort here at USAPrepares.com in my absence. Captain John Regan, thanks so much.
Yeah, it was interesting, and I was so hoping that you would have had an opportunity to call in yesterday, because I have a first-time caller. Welcome to the show, Vincent.
I'll tell you what, we were, John Moore and I hopped in our car, and my little car, and we drove out to North Carolina from Missouri. So John Moore and I were stuck in the rain for hundreds of miles, and we weren't unable to do anything other than try to drive safely and not get run over by these independent truck drivers who are flying down the road. And obviously their vision is so much better than everybody else's. Maybe it's the height of their cabs, but it was really, really difficult. It was a white knuckle ride because literally the visibility might have been 15 feet. It's pretty bad. And, a lot of us had our flashers on because you really couldn't see the taillights of the car in front of you. It was really, really bad. And, at the same time we were having this torrential rain. We had it on the way there. We had it on the way back. At the same time, Mrs. Finelli got a call from one of our class members, and she lives in California. She's been to the Get Prepared Expo, and she's been to the meetups. So she drove all the way out in her RV, spent about a week with us, and she called to say that there is a mandatory 32% water reduction. She's forced to reduce her consumption by 32%. Her current water bill for her house is $1,000 a month. $1,000 a month. And we are being deluged with rain, and we're trying to figure out how we're going to get the hay cut this afternoon so that, or bale what we have cut yesterday and the day before it is spoiled. And so we've shifted the rain. We've got the best rain money can buy, and we've moved the weather from California. We've taken their rain, and it's being dumped in Tennessee. It's being dumped in North Carolina, and it's being dumped in Missouri. And at the same time, people are being forced to leave their homes in California because of the lack of water. John, $1,000 per month. That's not per year or per decade. That's $1,000 per month water bill for a house. How is that affordable? And, that's $12,000 a year. So what would the gross income be to afford a $12,000 a year water bill? I think you'd have to have a gross income of $40,000 a year just to cover the water bill of $12,000 a year. What do you think?
Yeah, it's that plus we're getting ready to see the skyrocketing electric bills that Obama's promised. It's housing out there is already out of sight. I don't know if you've seen some of that information. Even these small fixer-uppers are, like $500,000 or more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I lived in one of those $500,000 fixer-uppers in California for a short time. Mrs. Finelli and I moved out there in the 1980s to start a company manufacturing satellite communications equipment. And we lived in a shack. It was 1,100 square feet. And the reason I say it was a shack, it was made out of a 4x8 sheet of this stuff called homosote. And homosote is about 3/4 of an inch thick, and it needs to be 3/4 of an inch thick, because really what it is, those egg cartons that are like the paper type egg cartons? That's homosote. You put that together and you make a board 3/4 of an inch thick, and you can actually, use it to sheathe houses. It's a real cheesy product. I would never use it, but we rented a little house there, and it was made with that. So this little house that we rented, because we didn't know if we were going to stay there, and we didn't like it. We lasted about 18 months in California. We really did not like the crime. This is in 1980. We didn't like the high cost of living. We didn't like the crime. We didn't like the lack of ethics. When we drove there, I had a little Porsche 914, little 4-cylinder Volkswagen Porsche joint venture. And it was an entry-level Porsche. And a guy came up to me and he said, what kind of wheel locks do you have? This is 1980. I said, I'm not sure I know what you're talking about. What do you mean, wheel locks? He said, well, to keep your wheels from being stolen. Like, who'd want these wheels? They're just steel wheels. I mean, they're painted kind of silver from the factory. And they looked okay. I mean, they weren't expensive wheels. They were just steel wheels, OEM wheels on a little Porsche. And obviously that stealing tires and wheels was a big thing in California. And this is in Silicon Valley. This is, Los Gatos, Cupertino, San Jose. Where Apple Computer is, and a lot of Hewlett Packard and those guys. So crime was way, way up. We had a faucet that was dripping in this rental house that we had. And so we called the landlord and said, just want to let you know this faucet's leaking. And they said, oh, we'll send a plumber out. The plumber came out the next day and he said, hey, listen, I'll tell you what. It's going to be $120 to fix this faucet. This is in 1980. $120 to replace the faucet. And I'm thinking these things are, you can get a Stanadine with a 10-year life expectancy cartridge, single lever faucet, stainless steel for $30. This guy wants $120 to replace one. And I thought, wow, that's a lot of money. Then he said, I'll tell you what, if you say you don't want me to do it now, I can come back, tomorrow after I get off, and I'll do it for less. So what he was doing is he was cutting his boss out of the equation. He was on the clock, cutting his boss out of the equation. And we thought, this is kind of a strange place. There's no ethics here at all. First, we have to have, locks on our wheels. And then, we have a guy come to fix a faucet, and he doesn't want to do it, for the guy who's paying him to do it. He wants to do it on his own and make more money. So we realized that this is just not a place for us.
Yeah, and I think they're all just practicing to be politicians and go to D.C.
Yeah. So, John, let me give you, a thumbnail report of what happened at the RK Prepper show in Fletcher, North Carolina. I can speak directly about my seminar, the attendance. I asked everyone who was in the seminar. It was an interactive kind of seminar. And it went out for, normally it would go for an hour. We did like 2.5 hours, and everybody stayed. Almost everybody stayed for, the entire duration. And I asked them at the beginning about, how many of you think we put a couple guys on a rocket and blasted off and left Earth and went to the moon and landed and got out of the space capsule and walked around and got back in and came home. About half. Half thought that we did that. And I asked them why. They said, well, I saw the pictures and watched the TV and saw the pictures and saw it on TV and saw some pictures. And, newscasters that they trusted, those voices of authority, those talking heads, they said that we did it. So about half believed it and half didn't. By the time I was done with this presentation, I allowed anyone who wanted to look very, very carefully at the images I had on the screen. We took all the time they wanted. And we looked at every image they wanted to see very carefully in detail. They walked right up to the screen and touched the screen. And we were done. There was not a single person who was in that seminar, not one, who believed that we went to the moon, got off, walked around, and came home. Not one. John Regan's with us. I'm Vin Finelli. It's great to be back in the studio. And as soon as we're done with this broadcast, I'm going to be doing circles on the tractor, baling hay if it doesn't rain. John Regan, thanks so much for being with us in my absence. I really appreciate it. We'll be right back.
Have you ever wondered if you could make electric, light, or heat in your home for free? How about a motor that charges batteries at the same time? What if this also restores useless batteries and saves you lots of money? Come to our Renaissance Charge Conference workshop on August 15th and 16th in Fort Lauderdale. Visit r-charge.com. That's r-charge.com for details, or call 208-304-2954. 208-304-2954.
Do good people ever want to call an attorney just to find out if they're right or wrong? But every time you think about calling an attorney, what are you forced to think about first? Money. If you could call as often as you wanted and talk as long as you need without a bill, would you call? Worry less and live more with lsprotection.com. That's lsprotection.com, or call 855-340-SAVE. That's 855-340-7283.
Results will vary from case to case.
By now, you know that USAPrepares.com is your source for water filtration systems. Here at the farm, we use our water filtration system for drinking, cooking, and for our cats and dogs. Which brand are we using? Well, that would be the ProPure system, because it filters out pathogens, microbes, chlorine, and fluoride. Multiple sources indicate that fluoride is responsible for lowering our IQs by 5%. Now, how many of you would like to sign up for a lower IQ? USAPrepares.com offers ProPure water filtration systems and accessories at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate. We buy them by the pallet loads and pass the savings on to you. And if you're outside of Missouri, there's no sales tax. And if this appeals to you, visit USAPrepares.com. That's USAPrepares.com. You can order online, and we have the ProPure water filtration systems in stock, ready to ship. USAPrepares.com. ProPure water filtration systems at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate.
All loans subject to OnDeck score approval must be in business at least 1 year to apply. Attention small business owners needing financing. Are you too busy running your business to deal with the slow lending process of your bank? Are you frustrated at the paperwork and delays just trying to get a decision? Then you need OnDeck, the A+ Better Business Bureau rated small business experts, where our simple application process takes as little as 10 minutes and funding could be available in just 1 business day. At OnDeck, we focus on your business operation and cash flow, not just your personal credit score. And we're ready to help with loans of up to $250,000. True business loans, not credit card advances. OnDeck provides financing to a wide variety of small businesses like restaurants, plumbing, landscaping, freight trucking, and healthcare providers. If you're frustrated with the paperwork and long decision times of traditional lenders, contact OnDeck. Funding could be available in just 1 business day. OnDeck is publicly listed on the New York Stock Exchange and has provided over $2 billion to small businesses like yours. So go to OnDeckLending.com today or call 800-293-6819. That's 800-293-6819.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Hey, Berkey Guy here. Are you still drinking unfiltered tap water? Does your water contain chlorine or fluoride? Will you have drinkable water in an emergency? The Berkey Guy is here to help you remove these and other potential contaminants from your water, thus helping you drink clean, purified water. We offer Berkey water purification systems at the lowest available prices online. Don't go another moment without Berkey system. Over the last 10 years, we've helped thousands drink clean, purified water. Join them by visiting goberkey.com or call me, the Berkey Guy, at 877-886-3653. That's 877-886-3653.
Captain John Reagan's with us, and his book is The Financial State of the Union. The Financial State of the Union. His website, thefinancialstateoftheunion.com. John, where would you like to start today?
Well, first, I'd kind of like to catch you up on while you were gone. Friday, we had a really good show there. Had Bill Whaley, and I don't know anybody else at USA Prepares that can give you more ideas in an hour than Bill.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy. He was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam.
And, compared to a couple of weeks ago when I was subbing for you when you were out making hay and, I was on the air with Ricky Rocket, Bill Whaley is about the exact opposite.
John, I wanted to call you and say, hey, John, it's your turn in the box with Ricky.
Because when you're with Rick, it's kind of like the Energizer Bunny. You wind them up and keeps going and going, and it's not linear the way he thinks. And you get into the theoretical, and then you get over here with Bill. Bill is laid back and practical, and I didn't really appreciate how hard it was going to be to interview Bill because he's got so many good ideas. You want to sit there and think about them because it starts generating other ideas. And when you're the host, you can't do that.
Yeah. I've heard that. Yeah, Bill, I don't know if you know this, but Bill would just show up at the farm. He'd come on over here and he'd love to chat. And, when he was able to, and when he was going to Jim Baker's place, I introduced him to Jim Baker. And he's been on television with Jim Baker. He's done presentations at, at Baker's, I don't know what you call it. It's not a farm. It's I don't know what you call it, but at Blue Eye, Missouri, where he has his headquarters and does his television broadcasting from. But so that's on his way to see Jim Baker, Bill Whaley would stop here at the farm. It was always good to see him. And you're right, he is full of ideas. And He built this hydrogen generator. Did he tell you about that?
Was that the gassing that?
Yeah. And
we talked about that a little.
he showed me. He lifted up his hood of his pickup truck, and he had this hydrogen gas bubbling away. And I think he built it for $5 or $10 or $15. And it's just a mayonnaise jar with some stainless steel wire hooked to his car battery with a switch on it. And he turns it on and he gets way better mileage, maybe 30% better mileage. And it's a gas-powered car. So we'll have him back and we can talk about that. But yeah, he's full of all kinds of ideas. And he now refers to himself as the junk man. And we gave him that name affectionately, and he can take things that people would throw away and turn them into useful devices. So it's kind of like a MacGyver, but an engineering MacGyver. That's what he is.
Yeah, and then I had a great conversation with Matt Stein, and it was so much fun because, I've been waiting for a long time to say, welcome, Matt. And, of course, we ran out of time, too. And one of the things I wanted to finish up on is, we talked about the difference between an EMP and a CME. They have some similar effects, but they are different. And with the CME, the solar storm, one of the differences is that radiation gets into the electrical lines. And he had a chance to talk about how with the Carrington event, of course, back then the technology was the telegraph, and there weren't very many places wired to that. And there were places that, had fires break out because they were connected to the telegraph line. Well, today we've got the power grid with practically every home in America wired to it. And there are going to be so many fires break out. And I'm wondering what we can do to protect ourselves.
Well, let's talk about that. And we'll talk about the Carrington event. We'll be right back. Captain John Reagan's with us. I'm Ben Finelli. This is USAPrepares.com. How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Hey neighbor, what are you doing digging? You had a heart attack last year.
Oh, I know. I was told no more hard labor.
Then why are you digging?
Well, I've been taking Extendovite. It's been approved to help my heart.
Extendovite? Is that a new drug?
No, not a drug. It's more like an herbal combination made from garlic and cayenne.
Herbal? How can that help?
Well, actually, we've taken herbs for thousands of years. And Extendovite is doing the job for me.
Does your doctor know about Extendovite?
Yeah, my doctor knows, and he said it seems to be working for you, so don't stop taking it. I feel great taking Extendovite. I don't want to stop.
To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
If you're worried about your health and you're tired of the nasty side effects of harsh drugs or antibiotics, then look no further. Supernatural Silver is the answer. Supernatural Silver is a powerful immune system enhancer that can be used every day. to help keep you healthy and well with none of those nasty side effects. It's extremely safe for use internally as well as topically, and Supernatural Silver is hundreds of times more effective than colloidal or ionic silver. It is perfect for use in the sinuses, eyes, ears, and on any wound or skin issue. Supernatural Silver is also extremely effective when taken orally and can help fight off bacteria, viruses, and mold that may be overwhelming your immune system. Go to supernaturalsilver.com, supernaturalsilver.com, and use the promo code SILVER2015 for 30% off of your entire order. And give yourself and your loved ones a fighting chance with Supernatural Silver.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-905-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. Sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV. Say goodbye to the cable guy. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV.
Hi, this is Steve Sanchez, and based on a recent study, it was found that 57 million Americans had legal issues over the last 12 months, but only 60% of those studied sought out the services of a lawyer. Why? In a nutshell, affordability. Well, my friends at Legal Shield have created a solution that can help you not if, but when you need an attorney. For as little as $17 per month, Legal Shield will provide you unlimited access to qualified attorneys at an accomplished law firm for advice and counsel on legal issues, no matter how serious or trivial. For over 40 years and with 1.4 million families across North America, Legal Shield can help you, the loyal GCN listener. Representatives are standing by now to answer your questions, so call them now at 1-855-340-SAVE. That's 1-855-340-7283, or visit them at lsprotection.com. That's lsprotection.com.
Results will vary from case to case.
Captain John Regan's with us, and John, we're talking about a massive solar storm, a Carrington event, a solar storm of 1859, 156 years ago. And as you mentioned, there were a lot of wires strung in the air between, we'll call them telegraph poles. Now I guess we'd call them telephone poles. And there were so many wires that this electrical energy, this blast from this geomagnetic solar storm of 1859, hopped on these wires and traveled along the wires. When it got to the end of the wires, it started fires. You're absolutely right. And we have a lot of wires, so everywhere. And I was driving through Tennessee and other small cities, and on the way back from Fletcher, North Carolina, to this little hamlet where I live in Missouri, and there's power lines everywhere in the air, and it's a problem. So what do we do about it? Do you have any thoughts?
Not really. That's not my area. So
okay. Well, the answer is for many of us to unplug devices in our homes that, assume that these wires act as antennas, lots of them. And as these electric pulses hop on the wires and travel down to your home and come out of your outlet into those devices that you have plugged in, if you unplug them, well, there's less chance for those devices to be destroyed. Kind of like if you don't have your TV plugged in, and there is a lightning storm, and your TV is not connected to a coaxial cable connected to an antenna that is, or a cable from the cable provider, then you're not as likely to have that television destroyed. So disconnecting is the way to go. And ultimately, the plan here at the farm is to disconnect from the power company. And so if there is one of these big events, we won't have the opportunity to have that blast of geomagnetic radiation coming down the power lines into the farm, because we will be disconnected from that using solar power. That's our plan.
That's my big concern, is where that power line is connected to the circuit breaker box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's another thing you do is you can certainly disconnect your power from your main disconnect from the electrical service. You can do that too. But if it's a huge electromagnetic pulse, it can hop right across the circuit breaker. Even though you've got it disconnected, it can still hop across there and destroy your equipment. So it's a big problem. It really is. And the plan really is to reduce the number of antennas that you have, and they would be all these wires that are in the air and in your house, because even one of these electromagnetic pulses could hop on the wires in your walls and travel to the end of that circuit and blow up the equipment on the end. It could be your telephone, and it could be your radios, it could be your stereo system, it could be your computers, it could be your cell phone connected to a charger, connected to the wall outlet, that kind of thing. So it's a concern. And you know what? It's really nice. It really is nice not having some of these devices. We don't need them all. But it is, I did miss a couple days of news. I really did. But that was kind of nice too.
I've got plenty lined up. Of course, I was planning on being on the radio 2 hours anyway, but it wasn't until 3:30 or so Sunday afternoon when Mrs. Finelli called me and said you weren't going to be there. And I decided to go ahead. What?
Did she say, hey? Did she say, hey? Or is that just me? Yeah, hay is a big deal around here. Cutting hay.
Yeah. And so I decided to just go ahead and do it without guests and just try an experiment, because I have so much material that I try to fit into 2 hours in a Monday. I thought, well, let's see what I can do if there's nobody's buttons to be pushed except mine.
And how many could you get through?
Well, it's like this. When I got up Monday, I hadn't created the post yet, and I had about 140 items in my show folder. I managed to cut that down to about 100, and that's what I posted for yesterday, and I believe I got through about half of them.
And there was nobody to push your buttons.
And so it's a challenge.
John, let me share some. Yeah, let me share something with you. I was on the phone this morning before the broadcast with one of our instructors in Europe. It's unbelievable. Now it was 95 degrees, 96 degrees, as per the display on my car, telling me the temperature outside. Well, today that was yesterday. And we had lots of rain and moisture, and it was really, really hot. The rain brought the temperature down a little bit, but, in between spells of rain, we had 95, 96 degrees outside temperature. I was on the phone this morning with one of our instructors in Europe. It's snowing. It's snowing at 3,000 feet in Europe, where he is. And he's a farmer, and he was able to bring his hay in. And what they've done is they've baled it wet, which is called silage. If you dry it and bale it, it's hay. And they have a mechanism to prevent the hay or the silage from decomposing. They put it in these huge plastic tubes, huge. Well, we don't have that equipment here at the farm. It's another $10,000 plus all the plastics, and we don't do that, and hopefully we won't have to. But he did, and now where it's snowing, the farmers that are at higher elevation than he is in his village, they are now bringing their hay or their silage up the mountain by tractor trailers to feed the cows that are at higher elevations, because those cows will die without being fed because they had a snowstorm today. Can you imagine? So the weather, when we talk about being prepared, this is the kind of thing we're thinking about. Who would have thought that it'd be snowing in the summer in Europe? Who would have thought that? Obviously not many. And those farmers are in dire straits, the ones who can't feed their cows, because they didn't get their hay done or their silage. And fortunately, the system that they've built is to help each other. They're all in it together. So farmers helping farmers, villagers helping villagers. That's what we need to do right here in the United States. That's what we need to do. Pretty serious, John.
Yes, it is. And what I'd like to do is get into the articles I have under the health section today.
Okay, sure.
And while you're getting to that, I just want to relate one other thing that happened over the weekend. While I was sitting there filing those articles and making, because I had hundreds just to get, filed down to the 140 that I ended up with in my show folder. One of the local channels was running Father Knows Best, and these were reruns from 1955. The family was a bit different back then.
Yeah, I remember watching them.
Yeah, I made the comment to Becky, if that Hollywood doesn't have new ideas, they repackage things. So if they wanted to repackage this today, they'd have to call it Father is an Idiot. But that's kind of hard to say, so I think they just shorten it and call it The Simpsons. Okay.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, and that was one of the things that I said during my seminar over the weekend. I said, why would anybody watch television with 20 minutes of commercials? And they have laugh tracks to tell you when to laugh, because obviously it's not funny enough for you to know that yourself. So they prompt you to laugh because they have these laugh tracks with these idiotic lines that they have. And why would anybody do that? Why would anybody watch those idiotic programs? And I think you're right. You're absolutely right. Please continue.
Well, let me go quickly through the articles here to explain why I have them up. And when we get back after the break, I'm going to want to talk a little bit more on the trans fat issue. I've got one where sunbathing can help you get pregnant, but you need to have the sun like a month ahead of time. And I'm pretty sure that has something to do with the vitamin D there. The second article is about trans fat, how it messes with your memory. It's bad for your heart. There's some other issues there. And I think I've got a possible reason why they actually did something that is good for us. The third one, saturated fat, is actually good for us. Studies find, fat's been getting a bad rap. The only fat that you shouldn't be eating is trans fat. And you really need to concentrate on the omega-3s because it's an essential fat, and without it, your brain doesn't work right. So when you're planning your preps, make sure that you're planning good fat sources. The fourth one talks about how pain drugs can make you infertile and inhibit ovulation. And these include over-the-counter non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. So, after, the poop is the props and you're looking at replenishing the earth, you need to make sure you get sun and stay away from the painkillers. And the last one, they're finally finding out that the problem is inflammation. I've known about that for at least 10 or 15 years.
All right, let's talk more about it when we come back on the other side of these commercial announcements. Captain John Regan's with us, thefinancialstateoftheunion.com, thefinancialstateoftheunion.com. We'll be right back.
Did you know that drinking pure, high alkaline water is one of the most important factors in maintaining high energy and vibrant health? Most experts agree that the water you drink should be at a pH level of 8 or higher. AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops, available only at alkavision.com, combine a unique formula of only the most alkaline minerals. AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops alkalize your water, ridding the body of harmful toxins, and helps you regain health and energy. Alkalizing your water by simply adding 10 drops of AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops helps the body rid itself of acidic waste, increases oxygen content, and raises the pH of your body to healthy levels. And bacteria and viruses cannot survive in an alkaline high pH environment. Order your bottle of AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops for only $29.95 at alkavision.com. That's ALKAvision.com. Or call 269-409-1776. 269-409-1776. Alkalize your body. Supercharge your health at alkavision.com today.
By now you know that USAPrepares.com is your source for water filtration systems. Here at the farm, we use our water filtration system for drinking, cooking, and for our cats and dogs. Which brand are we using? Well, that would be the ProPure system, because it filters out pathogens, microbes, chlorine, and fluoride. Multiple sources indicate that fluoride is responsible for lowering our IQs by 5%. Now, how many of you would like to sign up for a lower IQ? USAPrepares.com offers ProPure water filtration systems and accessories at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate. We buy them by the pallet loads and pass the savings on to you. And if you're outside of Missouri, there's no sales tax. And if this appeals to you, visit USAPrepares.com. That's USAPrepares.com. You can order online, and we have the ProPure water filtration systems in stock, ready to ship. USAPrepares.com. ProPure water filtration systems at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate. I'm Vincent Finelli of USAPrepares.com. As most of you know, I broadcast weekday mornings on GCN from 9 to 11. And I'm also a full-time farmer. Add to that mix the weekly meetups and the Get Prepared Expo, and this combination makes for a demanding schedule. On the farm, we raise grass-fed Black Angus cattle and provide them with the best variety of summer and fall grasses available. Our cattle are exposed to the extremes of weather, the toxins in the air, and the electromagnetic radiation that's all around us. So even the best grasses and food that we provide are not enough. Our cattle require minerals and supplements for strong health and resistance to disease. And so do we. For these reasons, my mother, our children, Mrs. Finelli, and I all take Youngevity, Beyond Tangy Tangerine, De-Stress, Glucogel, and EFA+. USAPreparesteam.com. And thank you for being in class today.
Have you ever felt like the United States government knows way too much about your financial affairs? I continue to hear stories about property seizures, frozen bank accounts, confiscation of stocks and bonds. It makes me wonder if the U.S. citizen will ever again have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Unfortunately, with the Drug and Money Laundering Act, the IRS Revenue Ruling 6045 of 1984, and the Trading with the Enemy Act and Franklin D. Roosevelt's Executive Order of 1933, some precious metal holdings are subject to government intervention. For this reason, Midas Resources has prepared a report explaining the boundaries of trading precious metals privately. Whether if you have any intention of trading with Midas Resources or not, I have instructed my representatives to give this report out free. Call for your free copy at 1-800-686-2237. When investing, always proceed with caution. Again, call 1-800-686-2237. Exercise your legal right to trade metals privately. 1-800-686-2237.
Honey, it's time for dinner. What are you doing over there on your computer?
I'm shopping for a new wallet. Mine is falling apart. Hey, did you know there's a company called ID Stronghold that makes shielded wallets to prevent electronic pickpocketing?
Oh, I didn't realize there was such a thing as electronic pickpocketing. What is that?
Well, apparently, many of the new credit and debit cards being issued have radio chips inside them called RFID that transmit our banking information to card readers when we pay. Unfortunately, a bad guy can also get one of these readers and go around the city scanning people, collecting their credit card numbers and personal information without us knowing it.
Wow, that sounds scary. Since you're getting a new wallet anyway, you should definitely get an ID Stronghold shielded wallet. Are they more expensive?
No. In fact, I can get a shielded leather wallet from IDStronghold.com for the same price or less than regular unshielded wallets from other stores.
Sounds great. My wallet isn't falling apart yet, but let me pick one out too. I want to be protected, and these wallets at idstronghold.com look fantastic.
Captain John Regan's with us. TheFinancialStateOfTheUnion.com. You can buy his books on Amazon. John Regan, TheFinancialStateOfTheUnion.com. John, back to you.
Well, several years ago, I went to a presentation locally here by Dr. Jerry Tennant, and I found out why trans fats are so bad for you. Because your body uses them to make cells. And the way the cell is designed, it's like a capacitor. And that fat provides the layer in the middle. And when you're using the trans fat instead of real fat, the trans fat's like plastic, so it's not conducting. So your cell, in essence, becomes a dead battery. And you can't just flush this from your system. You have to wait for the cell to be replaced. And depending on where it is in the body, there's different time frames that it takes for that event to happen. So you have to eliminate the trans fats from your diet and eat the good fats. And this ban on trans fats is a good thing. Part of what they are doing now is, you'll see this packaging, 0 grams of trans fats. Well, they say that because it's less than half a gram per serving. So there's still trans fat in there. And I got to wondering, why would the government do something good for us? Because it's about time. You know, trans fats aren't food. They're artificial. This is stuff like Crisco, where they were taking oil to make it more solid in order to make soap out of it. But when you put it in food, it lengthens the shelf life because you don't have to worry about the fat going rancid. I mean, not even God's creatures are too smart to eat the stuff. And why now, all of a sudden, do something that would be good for our health? Well, look at what else is going on in the world. And the big thing they would replace the trans fats with is palm oil. Well, we'd have to import that. Plus, it's bad for the environment because the countries, deforest places, put in palm trees. Now, everything that we're going to have to import is going to be more expensive because the dollar is losing value. So ultimately what this is going to do, even though it's better for our health, is going to make food prices go up at a time when electric prices are going up, Obamacare is going up, everything is going up. And of course, what's not going up are our wages. So that's why I believe they're doing this at this time.
Yeah, I find it very difficult to think of a single thing that our government does that is for we the villagers. I really have a tough time thinking of a single thing, literally. And just one more example. By the way, in our travels, we noticed that gas prices are up. They just keep going up, creeping up. So we saw, the highest we saw for regular was $2.79.9, roughly $2.80 a gallon for regular. About a year ago, around here, it was about $2 a gallon. It's almost up a third.
Well, I do want to let you know, even though I posted 100 items yesterday, there's some I held back. I didn't post. I saved some of the best button pushers to get with you.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. And by the way, one of the things that if you have inflammation, one of our instructors, Miles from the European Union, advised us that if you take apple cider vinegar with mother, apple cider vinegar with mother, it's the cloudy stuff. It doesn't look really appetizing. But if you take that roughly, a tablespoon a day with some water, any time of the day you want, it will reduce inflammation. He's absolutely right.
And
so,
serapeptase is very good for that too.
Mm-hmm. John Regan, I can you just stick around for a few minutes? I'm not sure what's going to happen for hour number 2, but would you just be on standby, please?
I'll stand by.
Captain John Regan's with us. I'm Vin Finelli. This is USAPreparedness.com. Danae is engineering the broadcast for this part of the first hour. I'm Vin Finelli. We'll be back, and Hartford Van Dyke may be joining us.
We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit and carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Ted Anderson, I'm placing a free silver dollar in a book that explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Virtually anyone can hack your cell phone and track your calls, your texts, your emails, your every movement, but only if they can detect a signal. Stay one step ahead of hackers and Big Brother with a Block-It Pocket, a custom-made pocket infused with pure silver that creates a complete Faraday enclosure for your cell phone. For free shipping to the lower 48, visit blockitpocket.com or call 888-315-9618. blockitpocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
In 1 week, our car broke down and our roof started to leak. We really needed money for repairs.
I really needed to move to a bigger apartment, but with my credit card payments and other bills, I couldn't afford the security deposit.
When over 100,000 people needed money this year, they turned to Avant.
Avant was great. They relieved a lot of financial stress.
I was approved for a personal loan through Avant. The next day, I had $4,000 in my account.
Avant can get you the personal loan you need fast. It's simple to apply, and there's no risk because checking your rate with Avant has no effect on your FICO score. Right now, Avant will also give you a $50 Amazon.com gift card after your first installment is made on time. To check your rates risk-free and get this special offer, go to Avant.com today and enter promo code 5757 at checkout. That's www.avant.com, promo code 5757.
Loans are made by WebBank, a Utah Industrial Bank, equal housing lender, and by affiliates of Avant Incorporated. California loans offered by Avant will be made under financial lender's license number 603K124. Funds are generally deposited via ACH for delivery next business day if approved by 4:30 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. Amazon is not a sponsor of this promotion. Other restrictions apply. See website for details.
Hey, Berkey Guy here. Are you still drinking unfiltered tap water? Does your water contain chlorine or fluoride? Will you have drinkable water in an emergency? The Berkey Guy is here to help you remove these and other potential contaminants from your water, thus helping you drink clean, purified water. We offer Berkey water purification systems at the lowest available prices online. Don't go another moment without Berkey system. Over the last 10 years, we've helped thousands drink clean, purified water. Join them by visiting goberkey.com or call me, the Berkey Guy, at 877-886-3653. That's 877-886-3653.
Have you ever wondered if you could make electric, light, or heat in your home for free? How about a motor that charges batteries at the same time? What if this also restores useless batteries and saves you lots of money? Come to our Renaissance Charge Conference workshop on August 15th and 16th in Fort Lauderdale. Visit r-charge.com. That's r-charge.com for details, or call 208-304-2954. 208-304-2954.
Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? Hour number 2 of USAPreparedness.com. I'm delighted to be broadcasting with Hartford Van Dyke. And we're going to be talking about silent weapons. Welcome, Hartford. And it's great to be with you, Hartford. You know, we talked about the matrices. And on 101 of this series, this is now 102. The matrices. Yep. And how you can change one cell in the matrix, and see what would happen downstream, what other industries would experience as a result. Would you mind giving us a recap of this matrix of all of these corporate inputs, the supply inputs, if you will, the economic inputs, the capital inputs, goods, services, and so forth. Would you mind giving us a recap of that? And then let's talk about how these cells are manipulated to change the outcome for we the villagers.
To their shares goes to another company, and so many of the shares comes back to their own company. They serve themselves. So this product that's put out by this one industry goes to itself and to the only other industry in the diagram. And now that other industry produces something else, maybe plumbing materials. So they provide such much plumbing materials for their own business and a certain amount for the other business. So you have those links. You have two different companies, so they link themselves and they link the other, and that gives you 4 links total. If you had 3 industries, you'd have 2 supplying one in 3 different groups, so that would give you 3 times 3 or 9 different connections. And so the more industries you apply, the more elements there are to deal with. Well, this looks like a grid when you get done, where you have lines running up and down and sideways. In other words, you have rows and columns. And so you build a table, a grid table like this. It looks like a spreadsheet, but what it is it's a simple grid called a matrix. And you have, let's say you have 40 industries. They had about 45 industries in 1940 on this type of a system. But you have, let's say 40 to keep the numbers simple. You have 40 industries that are detailed out mathematically so that you know how much they produce for each of the other industries. And so you end up with a grid of 40 industries feeding 40 industries. And so they make you come down, let's say with the $1, you come down the row on one industry. And as it goes past each block, a certain amount of value of that industry is split off to go to each of the same 40 industries. And so you have 40 industries feeding 40 industries, and they're all looped back and forth to each other. And this grid tells how much, each cross point in a grid tells how much value moves from one industry to the other. But with 40 industries, you're going to have 4 times 4 is 16, and 2 zeros, that would be 1,600 cross points in that chart. So that's the matrix. The matrix tells you how the money is distributed from one industry to the other. Now, the present system, they operate with about 150 industries or more. So you got a grid that's 150 by 150, which would have, you multiply those times each other at 1/5. 15 times 15 is 225, with 2 zeros would be 22,500 cross points. That is the matrix that represents this input and output. The input, it comes into from the left of the chart. The outputs go out at the top of the columns. Now, this particular grid can be, you can see the concept of it very easily. After I put the book out, Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, it was put out anonymously and privately. They didn't have this in their hands. The Scientific American magazine got an article from Wesley W. Leontiev. Wesley Leontiev is the Russian mathematician that came to the United States in about 1925, and his method of input-output analysis was applied more and more until finally it was applied to control of the economy. The method of input-output analysis is this matrix. The amount that comes in on the rows is distributed out along the columns to the various industries, and then they feed back to the others. It's a closed system. And so what they do is they have an amplifier. Well, let's put it this way. Here's a simple way to put it. Each industry feeds the others, and they have an adding machine or a multiplying machine that keeps track of how much is supposed to go in all the directions. Now, if you had a business office full of 150 industries, they had to take the information from all of these industries, calculate how much demand they were going to have in order to keep their business going. So they have these demand numbers. Each of these industries is demanding a certain amount from them. So they have to take these demand numbers, total them up, and figure out how much money, investments, labor, and so forth they have to have in order to provide the supply to all these other industries. That's the basic input-output analysis problem. Given an industry, it knows what it requires to operate on, and it has a demand coming in, which we would normally call orders. It has so many orders from so many companies. It's got to total up the orders, and it has to figure out how much it's got to take from the other industries in order to provide the satisfaction of those orders. And that's how the whole system is built. It's called an input and output analysis system. It takes quite a bit of computing equipment. Now you hook up, let's say you got these 40 industries to start with. We have 40 industries. You hook them up with this system, and as each industry calculates what it needs, it sends a signal back demanding from the other industries what it needs in order to be able to produce its product. You hook all of these together, and people are calculating machines in their respective industries, and whatever information that comes in, they have to calculate from that. So they start in some kind of a state, and they find out, well, this won't balance, so we have to adjust this. This won't balance, so we have to adjust this. And so that sequence goes around all 40 industries, of all of them trying to supply each other. And if you give them enough time to calculate, even with the delays that are there, if you give them enough time to calculate, they'll eventually be able to balance that whole input-output table to figure out what everybody's doing. It's all nothing disappears along the system. Every dollar, every penny has to be accounted for. Every pound of material that's transferred has to be accounted for. So this not only keeps track of money, it keeps track of raw materials, it keeps track of what's in the stockroom for building an object, it keeps track of the laborers, it keeps track of the consumer. The consumer one was the real problem for them, because the household industries weren't defined, and so they didn't know how to put that, to get that value. They do it now with uniform the codes that they have for the bar stripes that are put on objects to identify what they are, and then they run those through computers to ring up your purchase at a cash register. And all that information is fed into these silent weapon systems. Now, Wesley Rawles invented the input-output system. The input-output system is the heart of the silent weapon system. And my book came out in 1979. In 1980, September 1980, Scientific American issue, it's a very credible magazine. In about page 205, there was an article on, it was titled "The World Economy in the Year 2000" by Wesley Rawles. He's the father of the silent weapon system. The whole silent weapon system is an input-output and analyzer. And he invented the process. And this article says by this year, September 1980, there are 60 nations using the input-output analysis system to analyze their economies. Well, if we go back a little bit in time to the 40s, we get a picture of what happened. They were trying to do this process with relay computers that, instead of having vacuum tubes and transistors, these computers that they were working with were made with relays. A relay is a little switching device that has a coil of wire and it creates a magnetic field. The magnetic field operates the switch, and the switch operates other relays. So these relays all talk to each other by the electric wires that they got connected between them. And that's the only thing they had. The MIT relay computer, about 1939. Slow as coal tar. It took 10 milliseconds, which is 10 milliseconds, which is 100th of a second for one of these switches to close. And so it took almost forever to do the mathematical calculations in these devices. Well, but what happened was the relay computers were too slow, but there was an electronic computer invented by J. Presper Eckert and John W. Mockley. And this operated with vacuum tubes. Well, vacuum tubes are lightning fast compared to relays. They're operating just on the movement of electrons through radio tubes, what most people think of as radio tubes. But they were being used for switching circuits to turn things off and on. Well, they got like the Burroughs 205 of the 1950s. It was a huge machine. It was all vacuum tube operated, and it had great big tape recording machines to record the information. That were mechanical moving machines, slow as coal tar compared to what was necessary. And these machines, like you'd have a bank of these machines 40 feet long, and they'd be as high, taller than a man, and 3 feet deep, full of vacuum tubes, all of them hot, very hot. And the room would be sweltering hot with the heat, and they had to have an air conditioning system to pump the heat out of the building. And these electron tubes had filaments that had to heat up the tube to get the electrons to move through them, and it took a lot of current to turn those tubes on. So what you had was a giant heating element with a little bit of electronic power. And we'll get back to here. We had the music coming in.
Yeah, Hartford Van Dyke's with us. We're talking about computing, moving from relays to higher speeds with vacuum tubes. And the byproduct, unfortunately, was a lot of heat, and it consumed a lot of energy. Well, we're going to talk about the progression and the matrix and how it operates. I'm Vin Finelli. This is USAPrepares.com.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state in back taxes, you know they'll never stop coming after you. With bank levies, wage garnishments, they'll even seize your home or business. The good news? A government program for tax debt forgiveness. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative.
I'm Paul Sibley with U.S. Tax Shield. We can help navigate the new laws, get you protected, and resolve your tax issues permanently.
Call the experts at U.S. Tax Shield now for your free consultation and get a guaranteed quote to resolve your case. Call 800-436-6451. That's 800-436-6451.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
If you're worried about your health and you're tired of the nasty side effects of harsh drugs or antibiotics, then look no further. Supernatural Silver is the answer. Supernatural Silver is a powerful immune system enhancer that can be used every day to help keep you healthy and well with none of those nasty side effects. It's extremely safe for use internally as well as topically, and Supernatural Silver is hundreds of times more effective than colloidal or ionic silver. It is perfect for use in the sinuses, eyes, ears, and on any wound or skin issue. Supernatural Silver is also extremely effective when taken orally and can help fight off bacteria, viruses, and mold that may be overwhelming your immune system. Go to supernaturalsilver.com, supernaturalsilver.com, and use the promo code SILVER2015 for 30% off of your entire order, and give yourself and your loved ones a fighting chance with Supernatural Silver.
Hi, this is Larry Smith. Sometimes bad things happen to good people. When the cleaners ruined some special clothing, all they could do was show us a sign that said they weren't responsible. But when they got the letter from one of our Legal Shield attorneys, he promptly gave us a check for $1,152. Worry less and live more with lsprotection.com. That's lsprotection.com, or call 855-340-SAVE. That's 855-340-7283.
Results will vary from case to case.
More and more people are discovering the incredible benefits of alkalizing the body, and there's no better product for it than AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops. Packed with a powerful combination of the most alkaline minerals and compounds, just a few drops in water will rid your body of harmful waste and give you more vibrance and vigor than you've had in years. Now buy 2 bottles and get $10 off your order. Call 800-518-7615 or visit alkavision.com. Alkalize your body. Supercharge your health at alkavision.com.
Class Hartford Van Dyke is with us, and we're talking about the matrix. We're talking about the input-output matrix that can be used to manipulate the system, supplies, services, goods, inventories, and so forth. And we're talking about vacuum tubes. Please continue.
Okay, I do that. I just wanted to remark that you had your ads were mixing together. Did you know that? They were running 2 ads at the same time over each other.
Okay. Well, Danae,
I just want you to know that in case for your next
appreciate
show. Okay.
Okay. Danae, if you could fix that, that'd be great.
The tubes in the machines are producing a tremendous amount of heat. They have, on these digital computers, they're vacuum tube operated. Tremendous amount of heat. I've worked in a room that had one of these things, and so they had to have air conditioning systems for the whole thing. If you had a building full of these computers, you were pouring heat out the place, just unbelievable rate. The other thing, the problem with the vacuum tubes is they burn out. The filaments last just so long and they burn out. So you have a problem with the vacuum tubes is you have to have a man going up and down the aisles, pulling tubes and checking the tubes. And in order to be able to pull and check the tubes, you have to have a standby computer if you've got a real strict problem that you want to solve. You can't turn the machine off unless you record the information and then go and check the tubes and then turn the machine back on and continue the operation. Well, and the other problem is if a computer goes out and you're trying to solve a mathematical problem and it kicks out on you, what happens is that you don't know the answers that are coming up, whether the answers are good or bad. The telephone company telephone systems ran into the same problem because all your telephone companies operated with relays. And if the relay system wasn't working right, if there was a dust and got into mechanical contacts and the relays started failing, you had a difficult problem. There's thousands and thousands of relays. You had a difficult problem in figuring out just exactly where that relay was and getting to it and buffing the contacts or cleaning the relay. So the relay computers had the problem of getting dust in the contacts. The electronic computers had the problem of filament burnout and the tubes getting weaker as age went on. So you had to have a man going up and down the aisle with tube testers checking tubes while the machine is running is the difficult part. They didn't want to shut the machines down. So both in the telephone industry and in the relay computer industry, they had their problems. Well, the way the telephone company solved the problem is they ran three relay systems alongside each other, and it was the best 2 out of 3 answers. So they had the machines tracking each other. The relay computer circuits were triplicated so that they would know which line of action was out. By having 3 lines, the one that was failing would fail, and there would be 2 running to give their vote as to say what it should be, and the one that was failing, they would have to go find the problem. Well, they designed the telephone equipment in the telephone company offices so that when a defect like that happened, the relay system was capable of figuring out which relay was damaged and punch a little card out, and the repairman would get that card and he'd go straight to the relay and fix it. That's pretty fascinating and pretty sophisticated equipment. They have to have the same thing for the electronic computers with the tubes. If it was a high sensitivity, high security thing, if it was a military computer that was being used for defense of the country that was vacuum tube, they had to have 3 vacuum tube computers, identical computers running side by side, operated with synchronism equipment. And if a vacuum tube blew out in that thing, they had to have an instant printout of exactly what vacuum tube had blown out. This takes some sophisticated equipment. And so the man would rush over there with his tube tester, pull that tube, check it, verify the problem, plug in a new tube, and be back online. And then the best of 2 answers would be used, and they'd put all 3 of them back into synchronism with each other until the next tube blew out or they went weak. This is a real problem that they had, because they not only had, if it was a high security process, they not only had one computer to take care of, they had 3 simultaneous computers and a cross-checking computer in order to maintain that whole system. So that was where things stood in the 1940s when they were trying to do these input-output analysis problems. They had to have some really sophisticated equipment. If they were going to calculate something very complicated like the value of pi, simple 3.1415, they had to have all this machinery to guarantee that the answers were coming out of the machines correctly. That led to the next step, which was the invention of the transistor.
Hartford, hold that thought. Hold that thought. We're going into another break, and we'll be back in a few minutes. And so we're talking about from relay to vacuum tubes to transistors. By now, you know that USAPrepares.com is your source for water filtration systems. Here at the farm, we use our water filtration system for drinking, cooking, and for our cats and dogs. Which brand are we using? Well, that would be the ProPure system, because it filters out pathogens, microbes, chlorine, and fluoride. Multiple sources indicate that fluoride is responsible for lowering our IQs by 5%. Now, how many of you would like to sign up for a lower IQ? USAPrepares.com offers ProPure water filtration system and accessories at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate. We buy them by the pallet loads and pass the savings on to you. And if you're outside of Missouri, there's no sales tax. And if this appeals to you, visit USAPrepares.com. That's USAPrepares.com. You can order online, and we have the ProPure water filtration systems in stock, ready to ship. USAPrepares.com. ProPure water filtration systems at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate.
As if chlorine in our water weren't bad enough, now they're adding ammonia?
It's true. Some municipalities are now adding ammonia plus chlorine to your water supply. It's a disinfectant called chloramine. But with a trusted Big Berkey water filter, you can keep chloramine out of your water. New NSF EPA certified lab tests show EPA Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market, the gold standard in water purification. And our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Many are in disbelief today after word of shocking allegations against a Minnesota-based talk syndication company known as GCN. It's claimed that they're the 4th largest talk syndication company in the U.S., making it even more scandalous that they've been accused of helping business owners expose themselves on a massive scale. Let's go live to Tom for more on this story.
It's being called the greatest exposure of our lifetime, while other business owners are beginning to step forward claiming they too exposed themselves with the help of GCN.
It's true, they're all guilty, every last one of them. GCN helped me get the exposure my company needed, and just think, that was years ago. Today, GCN has like 700 affiliate stations and over 6 million downloads from iTunes and their website every month.
Imagine the exposure your company can get. Expose your business to the masses. Email advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective. GCN.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-905-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. Sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV. Say goodbye to the cable guy. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV.
All loans subject to on-deck score approval must be in business at least 1 year to apply. Attention small business owners needing financing. Are you too busy running your business to deal with the slow lending process of your bank? Are you frustrated at the paperwork and delays just trying to get a decision? Then you need OnDeck, the A+ Better Business Bureau rated small business experts, where our simple application process takes as little as 10 minutes and funding could be available in just 1 business day. At OnDeck, we focus on your business operation and cash flow, not just your personal credit score. And we're ready to help with loans of up to $250,000. True business business loans, not credit card advances. On Deck provides financing to a wide variety of small businesses like restaurants, plumbing, landscaping, freight trucking, and healthcare providers. If you're frustrated with the paperwork and long decision times of traditional lenders, contact On Deck. Funding could be available in just one business day. On Deck is publicly listed on the New York Stock Exchange and has provided over $2 billion to small businesses like yours. So go to OnDeckLending.com today or call 800-293-6819. That's 800-293-6819.
Class Hartford Van Dyke is with us, and we're talking about computers and actually the Genesis. And we started with relays, and we moved on to vacuum tubes. And the problems with relays is dust would compromise the contacts, and the coils would fail, and there was some heat involved, and they were slow. Then we moved on to really fast vacuum tubes. And the problem with that was the amount of heat that they generated and the failure rate, and they had these heating elements, and they used a lot of electricity, and that was a problem. And as a matter of fact, they got so hot that these vacuum tubes, these glass vacuum tubes with these contact pins on the bottom, they would mount them with these holders so that they could be picked out of the computer when they failed, because they had these holders and these straps above them that would run a little cooler, so you could actually pick them out without burning your hands. So then we moved on to transistors. Hartford, let's talk about the transistor.
Well, the advantage of the transistor, of course, it didn't have any heating element. It wasn't destroyed by heat as long as it was designed into the circuit to not be too hot. It would maintain its integrity throughout the whole process. It eliminated the constant testing of tubes. The circuits were tremendously more reliable, so the chances of the transistor breaking down before it got its job done were a lot less. And so it became the ideal element. And the first transistors were kind of difficult to produce. They had a very small yield in the beginning, but they got the system down on how to create them so that they were a very reliable device. And they went from germanium to silicon transistors. And silicon transistors were able to stand heat. There is heat generated in a transistor, and it can cause deterioration of a transistor, but by going from germanium to silicon, they got a more stable element. So they got the pieces together, and the complexity of the circuitry isn't that great. It's just there's a huge amount of the same type of repeated circuitry in a computer. There's only 5 types of logic block necessary in a computer. You have 5 functions which are called AND, OR, NOT, memory, and delay. AND is the condition when 2 signals come in and they're simultaneous, they give an output. The OR is if either of them have an input, there's an output. And NOT signal inverts the signal to turn a 1 into a 0. The memory circuit keeps track of all the stuff that's going on. And the delay circuit gets everything timed together in synchronism so they don't get out of step and blow the calculations off. So those are the only 5 blocks you've got in all these computers, but lightning speed is attained at doing this with many, many of these parts. Anybody can learn to design a computer. They could teach kids how to design computers in 1 semester of school. You can learn how to build a complete electronic computer. But our public schools are dumbed down. They don't have that in the lessons. But any student could learn in a half a year how to design a computer. And so that was no longer the problem. The design of the machines wasn't a problem, but they'd overcome the disaster of heat by having the transistor, and they got the extremely fast effects of a vacuum tube with a transistor. It was invented in 1948 by J.H. Bartine, W.H. Bertain, and W. Shockley. And so then they started moving into the field of integrating them, which means they learned how to build the transistors on a crystal chip, silicon chip, that had all of the circuits pre-wired so that they didn't have to put them together part by part, which immense speed in manufacturing multiple parts. And that's what brought us the present personal computer, the private computer that we have for our own homes. And so all the tools were there to do this, but then came the other problem that had to be dealt with. When you do linear analysis with these input-output tables, you have a lot of mathematics to do. It's simple mathematics. It's very simply arranged in what's called a matrix. But in order to maximize this process so that it doesn't take so long to do it, and to home in on necessary values, they had to have some method of calculating that would calculate the way to get the calculation done. It's the simplest that could be done. Well, that process was invented by a man by the name of George B. Danzig in 1947. It's called the simplex method of linear programming. This method is used to analyze these matrices and limit the amount of calculation and the speed at which the solutions are brought about. So in 1947, Danzig developed the simplex method. In 1948, the transistor came along and made it possible to eliminate the constant repair of the machines as they're running and to guarantee that the accuracy didn't require triple checking all the time. And that made it possible to create the silent weapon system, that combination. And in 1949, there was, 1948, the Rockefellers provided money for the Harvard University economics project that Wesley Rawles was ahead of it. In their book, in his book, Studies in the Structure of the American Economy, he explained in the foreword that the purpose of this thing, if you read it straight, the purpose of it was to create a controlled economic system where they could predict the economy and what to do with the economy, how to manipulate the economy. And it was put forth in a kind of a clouded form, but it was there. And for somebody to know that that's what they had to look for, you can find it in the writing. It's very simple that way. So they had this $100,000 to work with, and he developed this system. It's called Studies in the Structure of the American Economy. The next question was what could they do and how could they do it with this machine to control the economy? So they did a research project. The research project started in Iron Mountain, New York. It was a group of people that met in Iron Mountain, New York to figure out how to put this system together and the way in which they could figure out how prices were affecting each other. And so they had these meetings. Well, there was a man in the meeting that didn't feel comfortable about what he was hearing and what they were doing, so he contacted a man called Leonard C. Lewin. Leonard C. Lewin put the pieces together in a book called A Report from Iron Mountain on the desirability and possibility of having peace. Actually, it was a question of whether or not war could be removed and still be able to keep the economy going. And it was a shocking book. It shocked Congress when the book came out. And anyway, I had been publishing my book on Pearl Harbor in 1973, and as I was finishing that project up, I picked up this book as A Report from Iron Mountain, and I started reading it, and it got real heavy in the book. It was the things they were talking about, the lack of consideration of conscience, and just plain the military attitude of this book was a little shock. And I got about halfway through the book, and I had to put it down because I had to make a living. And I had a group of students that wanted to learn electronics, and they came to me and approached me and said, will you set a school up for us? And so I did, a technical school for them to learn electronics. And so I worked with them for about a year, and in November of 1974, the book came off the press on Pearl Harbor in 1973, The Skeleton in Uncle Sam's Closet. In 1974, November, about a year later, just about Pearl Harbor time, I was looking through a book, a college algebra book I had in college, for a solution of a certain kind of math problem I was interested in. And I came across the section in the book on matrices, and down there in the footnotes of the book, on the section on matrices, it described how these matrices could be used to design economic systems and interrelationships between corporations. I thought, this is the key. And so with that information, I knew that there was a way of solving the problems that were in the report from Iron Mountain. And so I went down to the Portland, Multnomah County Public Library and started digging through the economics books. And I discovered the book Studies in the Structure of the American Economy by Wesley Rawles, and it fit the bill perfectly, absolutely perfectly. So I studied that and I could tell by the forward that it was dealing with that kind of a subject. And I brought that back home, and between those two books, primarily College Algebra by Lyman M. Kells, Professor Emeritus, United States Naval Academy, and Wesley Leontief's book on economics, it was very clear that this was the magic behind the silent weapons system. He was the father of it. So I put together a writing on this at the time, November 1974. Rockefeller was being considered by the Senate to become the Vice President of the United States. And they had financed this machine, which I recognized to be a real problem. And so I put together a 5-page writing, 8.5 by 14, titled Warning, a Surprise Attack Imminent, which is kind of a takeoff from my Pearl Harbor book. And I put this 5-page writing together as describing the silent weapons system, the mathematics that was involved, and how it worked. And I sent it off to all 535 Congress people in Washington, D.C., 435 representatives and 100 senators. Well, nothing came of it. And so it lingered in the system. It was something that I wanted to accomplish, but I couldn't get the people to awaken to the idea. So they went along with their politics, and I went along with my life. In 1976, I produced a criminal complaint form. It took me 3 months to produce it with the help of a friend. And it's a criminal complaint form that's used all over the United States now to itemize the damages caused by public officials, to establish a dollar value, to put a lien on the government, to get taxes back for the public. That's what the whole process is. And I developed a system, and I was helping people with legal work from February 1975 forward, and helping them do their paperwork and understand what was being done to them by the government. And so I had a client that I had was a rich family in Vancouver, Washington, and they had learned about the silent weapons for quiet war thing that I had worked on, and they wanted that thing in public. So they financed me for 1 year. They gave me 1 year of financing to produce the book Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. And it came off the press, well, I say press, they were printed in a photocopy machine, but that expression is they came off the press in 1979. And so I put them out secretly. They were put out privately to a few patriots. 65 copies is what I put together, approximately 65 copies. By the December of 1979, that was the birth of my thing.
Hold that thought.
All loans subject to on-deck score, but must be business at least 1 year to apply. Attention small business owners needing financing. Are you too busy running your business to deal with the slow lending process of your bank? Are you frustrated at the paperwork and delays just trying to get a decision? Then you need OnDeck, the A+ Better Business Bureau rated small business experts, where our simple application process takes as little as 10 minutes and funding could be available in just 1 business day. At OnDeck, we focus on your business operation and cash flow, not just your personal credit score. And we're ready to help with loans of up to $250,000. True business loans, not credit card advances. OnDeck provides financing to a wide variety of small businesses like restaurants, plumbing, landscaping, freight trucking, and healthcare providers. If you're frustrated with the paperwork and long decision times of traditional lenders, contact OnDeck. Funding could be available in just 1 business day. OnDeck is publicly listed on the New York Stock Exchange and has provided over $2 billion to small businesses like yours. So go to OnDeckLending.com today or call 800-293-6819. That's 800-293-6819.
By now you know that USAPrepares.com is your source for water filtration systems. Here at the farm, we use our water filtration system for drinking, cooking, and for our cats and dogs. Which brand are we using? Well, that would be the ProPure system, because it filters out pathogens, microbes, chlorine, and fluoride. Multiple sources indicate that fluoride is responsible for lowering our IQs by 5%. Now, how many of you would like to sign up for a lower IQ? USAPrepares.com offers ProPure water filtration systems and accessories at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate. We buy them by the pallet loads and pass the savings on to you. And if you're outside of Missouri, there's no sales tax. And if this appeals to you, visit USAPrepares.com. That's USAPrepares.com. You can order online, and we have the ProPure water filtration systems in stock, ready to ship. USAPrepares.com. ProPure water filtration systems at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number. Call 1-888-379-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-888-379-MY-TV right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound. Call 1-888-379-MY-TV. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-888-379-MY-TV. 1-888-379-MY-TV. Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more. Call 1-888-379-MY-TV. 1-888-379-MY-TV.
As if chlorine in our water weren't bad enough, now they're adding ammonia?
It's true. Some municipalities are now adding ammonia plus chlorine to your water supply. It's a disinfectant called chloramine. But with a trusted Big Berkey water filter, you can keep chloramine out of your water. New NSF EPA certified lab tests show EPA Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market. The gold standard in water purification. And our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
I'm Vincent Finelli of USAPrepares.com. As most of you know, I broadcast weekday mornings on GCN from 9 to 11. And I'm also a full-time farmer. Add to that mix the weekly meetups and the Get Prepared Expo, and this combination makes for a demanding schedule. On the farm, we raise grass-fed Black Angus cattle and provide them with the best variety of summer and fall grasses available. Our cattle are exposed to the extremes of weather, the toxins in the air, and the electromagnetic radiation that's all around us. So even the best grasses and food that we provide are not enough. Our cattle require minerals and supplements for strong health and resistance to disease. And so do we. For these reasons, my mother, our children, Mrs. Finelli, and I all take Longevity, Beyond Tangy Tangerine, De-Stress, Glucogel, and EFA+. USAPreparesTeam.com. And thank you for being in class today. Class, Hartford Van Dyke is with us, and we're talking about his book, Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. And Hartford, you were mentioning that you had produced 65 copies. Please continue.
I produced these copies, put them out privately. I had not gone public with the book. And I was traveling. I was doing some publishing work and traveling in the car down the street in Vancouver, Washington. And I saw a military man in full dress uniform thumbing a ride up the road. And that's very rare to see. It's not considered probably dignified behavior, even in the military, to be hitching in a military uniform. But he was there. And I pulled over and I asked him what his problem was. He says, I'm late for my duty station at Fort McCord Air Force Base. And I said, I'll take you there. And so I drove for 3 hours for that man to get him to his base on time. So, or to get him there at least within a reasonable amount of time. And I explained the silent weapon system to him all the way up the road. I gave me about 3 hours to tell him everything I knew about it. And I happened to have a copy of it right beside me in the car because I'd been doing that work that day of publishing. And so as he stepped out of the vehicle, I handed him a copy of Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. And he took it on base. And I'm sure when he read it, it surprised him and made him realize he couldn't be caught with that thing in his hands. And so it's obvious from what happened that he stashed it in a photocopy machine there at Fort McCord Air Force Base, where he could copy it if he needed it, and otherwise it wouldn't be in his possession. Well, what happened was, several years later, Fort McCord Air Force Base auctioned off a bunch of their office equipment, and a man from Boeing Aircraft Company wanted a copy machine that would have the parts that he could use to rebuild his own copy machine. So he bid on this machine and got it. And he took it home and took it apart, and he discovered the manual on how to create currencies for local communities inside of it. He said he broke out in a cold sweat. He sent it to America's Promise newsletter in Phoenix, Arizona, and they published it in November 1986, and that was when it first surfaced. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to back up here just a little bit. That was 1986 that it finally surfaced. However, in the meantime, my book came out in 79, and I was just crossing over into 1980. Well, in September 1980, the Scientific American magazine was entirely on economics. And in there, back about page 205, it says on the magazine, Wesley Rawles had an article, the world economy in the year 2000. And so he was putting a presentation out of how this machine worked, this input-output analysis machine worked. And it admitted in the article that there were 60 nations already working with his input-output analysis of the economies of those nations. So it was really a moving thing. Everybody knew what it was, and it's still being used. It's very useful in many different kind of business operations. But anyway, he was doing this, and he explained the machine from one end to the other, how it's being applied in the world. And toward the end of the article, it described the use of a template that you could put into this machine of what kind of a world you wanted, reverse the machine in its operations mathematically, and it would tell you how to manipulate all the corporations in the present in order to get that future type of world. So that became the computer system of the New World Order. That's how important it was. And so they were working along with this, and my book came out, was exposed in November 1986 by America's Promise newsletter. In the early 90s, a man by the name of William Cooper, put out a book called Behold the Pale Horse, and he used the silent weapon system writing of mine as the beginning chapter in his book. And time went on, and finally one of the people that helped me with this book and the publishing of it, who was part of it, said, Hartford, you've got to reveal the fact that this book was not written by the United States government. It's being used in court cases as evidence against the United States government, and if it's ever found that it is a private work, you're going to have a problem. And so I went on the air finally and revealed it in 1996 that I had written the book. And so I hear the music coming up again. I guess I better let you take it. Hello?
Hartford, this was episode 102.
Yes, sir.
And we'll do 103 and 104. So, class, you are listening to Senior USAPrepares.com instructor, Hartford Van Dyke. And Hartford, I've never told you this, but I know one of the men who uses this input-output system to change the world.
It's very, very much.
Your favorite GCN hosts and programs? Without a radio signal or internet? Just call 605-562-4213. Get instant access to all GCN live feeds right on your phone. Anywhere you want, anytime you want. 605-562-4213. It's our way of ensuring everyone has the opportunity to enjoy GCN. 605-562-4213. The future of talk radio. GCN.
More and more people are discovering the incredible benefits of alkalizing the body, and there's no better product for it than AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops. Packed with a powerful combination of the most alkaline minerals and compounds, just a few drops in water will rid your body of harmful waste and give you more vibrance and vigor than you've had in years. Now buy 2 bottles and get $10 off your order. Call 800-518-7615 or visit alkavision.com. Alkalize your body. Supercharge your health at alkavision.com.
Honey, it's time for dinner. What are you doing over there on your computer?
I'm shopping for a new wallet. Mine is falling apart. Hey, did you know there's a company called ID Stronghold that makes shielded wallets to prevent electronic pickpocketing?
Oh, I didn't realize there was such a thing as electronic pickpocketing. What is that?
Well, apparently, many of the new credit and debit cards being issued have radio chips inside them called RFID that transmit our banking information to card readers when we pay. Unfortunately, a bad guy can also get one of these readers and go around the city scanning people, collecting their credit card numbers and personal information without us knowing it.
Wow, Wow, that sounds scary. Since you're getting a new wallet anyway, you should definitely get an ID Stronghold shielded wallet. Are they more expensive?
No. In fact, I can get a shielded leather wallet from idstronghold.com for the same price or less than regular unshielded wallets from other stores.
Sounds great. My wallet isn't falling apart yet, but let me pick one out too. I want to be protected, and these wallets at idstronghold.com look fantastic.